All right, y'all, let's jump right into it. This is going to be a really, really good conversation that I hope and pray brings some enlightenment, as well as maybe some thought provoking things that we can really discuss. Here's the thing: in response to President Donald Trump's executive order banning diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, the Pentagon's intelligence agency has paused as of last week special event programs and related events, including things like Juneteenth, MLK Jr. Day, Black History Month, Holocaust Days of Remembrance, and Pride Month. And I'm going to talk a little bit today. I want to have a conversation on why canceling these events, why canceling these recognitions on the intelligence agencies level actually might be a good thing. Now, this might be an uncomfortable conversation, but I encourage you all just to stick with me for a minute. Before you tune out or assume that I'm against the recognition of Black History Month and a lot of these other cultural awarenesses, I want you all to hear me out. This conversation today isn't about erasing history. It's about expanding history. I'm going to really identify with Black history because that's, of course, the culture that I identify most with. But I'm also going to give some references inside of today's conversation to some other historical communities and cultures as well. But let's look at first the history of Black History Month. All right. Let's put some things inside of some context first. Black History Month began as Negro History Week in 1926. It was founded by Carter G. Woodson, who was a historian who understood that Black contributions were being ignored inside of mainstream history books. Now, the reason why he chose the second week in February, because it coincided with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. Those of you who know African American history know that those two individuals were highly influential inside of the progression of Black history, inside of the history of Black progression. One of the interesting things, I didn't even know this until I was doing my research for today's podcast, that Frederick Douglass, his birthday is February the 14th. Now, that is not his actual birthday, but he chose that date as a slave because he remembered at one point his mom called him my Valentine. Okay, so that's why he chose that date. But that was just a little side thing with regards to Black history. But Carter G. Woodson chose the second week of February because Frederick Douglass' birthday being considered February the 14th, Abraham Lincoln's birthday being February the 12th. And this week of acknowledgement eventually expanded into a month inside of 1976. Now, I want y'all to look at these dates, 1926 and 1976. So this whole notion, let's just look inside of context. This whole notion of Black History Month is less than 100 years old. And Black History Month in particular is right around 50 years old, which in my opinion is very, very young. Inside of 1976, President Gerald Ford urged Americans to recognize the role of Black Americans in shaping the nation. Now, for decades since this time, Black History Month has been a time when schools, churches, organizations have poured out an overwhelming amount of historical information, almost ending with a sense of accomplishment on March the 1st. I never forget when I was in elementary school and Black History Month came around. I really look forward to it. You know, from day one, you start learning about so many different historical figures who really helped shape not just American history, but global history at large. And to be honest, I remember as a child being kind of disappointed when March 1st came around, because I was like, man, we just crammed in all this information, but then we go right back to, and I hate to say it, whitewashed history come March the 1st. So here's the big question. Should we really be satisfied with a single month of recognition when our history is happening every single day? Now, history inside of its context is not just about what happens inside of the past. In my opinion, history really is about awareness. Like I said, it's not about, just, opening up a book and saying what happened inside of the past. No, identifying history, which is a subject that I hated inside of school, is really about awareness. And when Black History Month was created, we didn't have the access back in 1976 that we have today. Now with, digital platforms and podcasts and social media, in my opinion, we don't have to wait until February to learn about Black inventors, entrepreneurs, civil rights activists, and cultural pioneers. This is my opinion, and this is for all Black folk out there, that instead of just consuming and posting entertainment about Black culture, we have the opportunity to engage in history as it happens. One of the things that I love teaching inside of my class at Clark-Atlanta University is that the whole notion of social media, just even those two words, social media is entertainment. And the fact that we utilize these platforms in order to perpetuate entertainment of certain cultures, entertainment of certain people. I saw somebody who literally said it the other day with regards to Facebook and X and a lot of these platforms that are free. He said on CNN, he said, listen, he said, anything that is free, you are the data for that thing. And I want y'all to think about that for a minute, okay? We utilize these platforms, we utilize these social media avenues, and they are free to us. Why are they free to us? Because someone is collecting data with regards to our habits, with regards to our likes, with regards to our spending, with regards to what appeases to us. So I really want to push inside of today's episode the fact that just consuming this entertainment about Black culture, we really have inside of 2025 this opportunity to engage in history as it happens. We have the ability, and in my opinion, we have the responsibility to integrate Black history and these other cultures that I'm ready to talk about into American history every single day. It's not just Black history that should be woven into the fabric of our collective understanding. This conversation with regards to Trump's DEI and, the intelligence's pause of these events also includes Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. It includes Women's Equality Day. It includes National Hispanic Heritage Month. It includes National Disability Employment Awareness Month. It includes National American Indian Heritage Month. See, here's the thing. These cultures, these communities, these people, they aren't just side stories. These are central. They are central to the American experience, and then also to the global experience. Now, here's what remains and what it means. I want us to be clear inside of today's conversation that MLK and Juneteenth still remain federal holidays. Now, this tells us something. It means that the recognition of Black struggle and liberation is still valued at a national level. My question really today is, how do we go beyond just this symbolic recognition? These symbols of days. If Black history is truly American history, should it not be included inside of school curriculums year round? Now, this is a whole nother conversation for those inside of some states where they are trying to erase Black history and also inclusive history inside of American history. That's a whole nother conversation that maybe we should have. But should it also not be reflected inside of our leadership, inside of our economic policies, inside of our institutional reforms? Maybe canceling these events, maybe canceling these recognitions, maybe canceling Black History Month as a single isolated event forces us to really ask some of these deeper questions. Instead of a month of recognition, what if we had a lifetime of education and engagement? I'm just gonna be very honest with you. It doesn't start inside of our school system. It doesn't start with our government. No, it starts at home. And of course, as a spiritual person, I always like to turn to scripture for perspective. But I want us to look at two specific scriptures. All right. 1 Corinthians 12, verses 12 and 4, Paul reminds us that just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. For in one spirit we are all baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks, slave or free, and all were made to drink of one spirit. This passage in particular tells us that our differences are meant to complement one another, not to divide us. That our histories, our struggles, our victories, guess what? They all contribute to a greater whole. And again, I'm not just talking about American culture, I'm talking about global culture. Another passage of scripture that I love and I want to reference today is Revelation 7:9. It gives us, in my opinion, this vision of unity and diversity. The text says, after this I looked, and behold, a great multitude that no one could number, from every nation, from all tribes and people and languages, standing before the throne of God and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes with palm branches inside of their hands. This tells us that even God's vision for humanity has always included diversity. That even God recognizes the contributions of all people. That this isn't just a societal issue that we're talking about today, that according to biblical text, this is also a spiritual issue. So could canceling Black History Month, could canceling some of these events around certain cultures and groups of people actually be a good thing? Here's the thing, if it leads to a deeper integration of these histories into everyday education, policy making, and national consciousness, then yes. If it challenges us to go beyond performance and interaction, then yes. But if canceling this awareness of these cultures of diversity leads to further erasure, we've got a problem. The challenge then is not whether to celebrate Black history. It's not to celebrate Holocaust remembrance. It's not to celebrate Pacific Islander history, but how do we do it in a way that truly honors the past of these cultures? How do we do it in a way that informs the present about these cultures and community? But then also, how do we do it inside of a way that truly shapes the future? Not just inside of the span of time that's been quote unquote given to us. No, how can we do it inside of a way that truly shapes the future? Because I'm going to be very honest with you all. I don't hear a lot of stories being told like Martin Luther King and Thurgood Marshall and Shirley Chisholm and Rosa Parks. I mean, I'm not hearing those stories of today being told to our children and our grandchildren for tomorrow. So what do you think? Let's continue this conversation. And until next time, I want you all to stay aware, stay engaged, and keep making history.